Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. This is Satyajit Pattnaik and thank you all for joining. Today we shall be talking about generative AI. This is going to be a 2 hours lecture on generative AI. So let's wait for people to join in. I hope my voice is audible. If yes, can you please give me a confirmation on the chat box very quickly so that we can get started with our agenda. Hi Pushparaj. Hi Jayant. Hi Navin. Hello everyone. Is my voice audible properly? Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so thank you all for joining in. Today we are going to talk about generative AI, a very new topic in the market. Many of you might or might not know about this, but of course, at the end of this session, I'm pretty much sure that you will have a very good understanding on generative AI. Okay, so we are going to have. Initially, I thought of having a 1 hour lecture, but in 1 hour it's not possible to cover a lot of topics. We also had a demo session long back with prospective people who wanted to join the program of AI Masters. But this is like a prolonged session. It's going to be like 2 hours, and we are going to cover multiple topics in this particular session. Deep learning course is already there on my channel. I'm not sure if you have not seen the video or I don't know. It's already there. Maybe I'll just if you are a part of my WhatsApp community, I'll share the deep learning course video also, so that you can go through it. Okay. So okay, let's get started with generative AI. The initial 15 minutes will be little bit basics, so could be little bit boring for some of you. I'm going to talk about basics of, just give me 1 second. Something wrong with my, okay, this looks good. So the very first 10-15 minutes I'm going to talk about basics of generative AI. What exactly is generative AI? How is it relevant for the data industry, for the data science industry? And then eventually we will go and talk about LLM basics. I'll talk about what is LLM, and slowly we will try to talk little bit about prompt engineering, and then we will try to talk a little bit about rags. Not little bit, in fact, good amount of rags will be taught. What is rag? I'll cover that slowly, and then we'll talk about vector databases. We'll also talk about vector indexes, and eventually I will show you a project. If time permits, I will do a project walkthrough. If not, this Thursday I'm releasing one project, so you can wait for that project and go through it. It's going to be a 50 minutes video where one end-to-end project will be shown to you in our channel, so you can go through that. So this is again could be a part of the today's session, but I cannot guarantee, right? This is how things are going to look like. Now, before getting started, just I would like to know little bit about the audience background. 20, 30 people are in this call. I would like to know your experience and knowledge on generative AI or at least data science. Can you quickly give me a description in the chat box? Just write down your name. For example, Firoz. Firoz, 5 years experience into data analytics, exploring generative AI. Or 3 years experience as an HR, want to switch to data analytics domain or data science domain. Give me a two-liner about yourself quickly, and in the next 2 minutes we will proceed. I'm having a look at the chat box. Okay, great. Many of you are already experienced, it seems. Okay, just last 2 more minutes for introduction and then we will get started. Okay. So, new to generative AI, experience in Python and ML, looking to switch into data science. Okay, senior marketing sales professional. That's great. Great. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, now the first few minutes we'll talk about generative AI and how is this getting fitted in the AI domain. Okay, now if I talk about AI, first of all, let's try to understand what is AI, like in 5-10 minutes, and then we'll proceed with the other topics. Okay, what is AI? AI is artificial intelligence, right? Something that is artificially achieved. How can we artificially achieve something? Let's say you don't have knowledge about a particular topic. For example, your brain does not have knowledge about something. Then you have to train it, right? Now, for example, a simple example is, let's say, movie. Now, let's say I'm talking about movie called as Kalki, right? You don't know about this movie. You have a basic context that it is somewhat related to the future, how the Kalyug will end and all those things, right? But you don't have a detailed understanding about the movie, entire movie, right? So your brain does not have any information. If you feed that information, after feeding that information, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, if you ask me something about Kalki, who is the actor, what is the story, I'll probably able to tell you that, right? That is something I'm artificially gaining. Okay, natural intelligence is something that you already have genetically from your parents, that you inherit. So there are different areas of research that basically leads to AI. So different areas of researches leads to AI. Machine learning is one of them. Some other domains are NLP, autonomous vehicles, computer vision, text to speech, speech to text, and multi more. There are multiple areas of researches that leads to AI. Now, what exactly is deep learning and generative AI? If you zoom in ML, so let's say AI is here, let's say ML is here. Inside ML, there is another domain called as deep learning, which talks about neural networks, which talks about neural networks based on CNN, convolution neural networks, artificial neural networks, multiple types of neural networks. Inside deep learning comes this new domain, which is generative AI. And the world is going crazy for generative AI these days. The very first thing that went very popular 2 years back was ChatGPT, right? What is ChatGPT? Now, just a disclaimer that in Hong Kong we don't have ChatGPT. So I usually go for tools like poe.com or u.com. So I cannot show you the ChatGPT interface, but background of POE is ChatGPT. So let's say I'm going to ask something. What is generative generative AI? Explain me in 2 lines. Now, here what's happening is I'm asking a question and the bot is responding. Now the bot is responding because the bot already has information about generative AI. Now let's say I randomly ask about a topic. I will make up a random company, let's say XYZ Private Limited, which does not exist, right? What is XYZ Private Limited's main work, and where is their main office location? I hope XYZ Private Limited does not exist, right? Now you can see GPT is not able to answer. Why it is not able to answer? Because GPT has no information, right? So that is generative AI. Now, talking about generative AI, there are different types of generation. It could be generation of text, So let me just decrease the font a bit. It could be generation of text. It could be generation of images. It could be generation of videos. Now, generation of text. What are some of the examples? Some of the online tools are ChatGPT. Apart from that, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are various other models that are based on the principles of generation of text. ChatGPT is one of them, Cloud is one of them, then we have Llama, then we have Gemini, then we have many other things are there, right? Mistral is there, Mixtral is there, Zephyr is there, many models are there. Okay. And when it comes to generation of images, maybe you might have heard about this Dolly is one of the image generation tool. Okay, if you just simply Google, again I cannot show you because OpenAI is not accessible to me, but you will be able to Google it out and understand that this is nothing but a text to image model. Similarly, in the space of images, there are multiple other models. I'll not talk about that in depth. Generation of videos, we have Sora. How many of you know about OpenAI Sora? It was recently launched like 7 8 months back, and it is the world of creation of videos. You just pass a text and you will be able to get the videos. There is a beautiful Instagram page which is based on the principles of this Sora, who randomly creates funny videos, and he has become almost like 500K followers on Instagram. So he randomly generates some videos like Messi sitting in Indian restaurant, Messi and Ronaldo going for going with cows. These kind of random videos he generates, and his page is very famous right now. Well, it is not using Sora to be very specific, but that is also text to video generation. Okay. Now, when it comes to generation of text, many people talk about LLMs. What is LLM? LLM is a large language model. Okay, large language model. Imagine it is something like this, which is trained on trillions and trillions of data. Trillions of data. Data includes Wikipedia, data includes Google, data includes various newspaper platforms, data includes multiple other sources. Thousands and millions of sources of data are already a part of this large language model. And when you are asking as a user, when you are asking a question, it interprets the question and it gives you an answer. Well, what happens in the back end, how the interpretation happens, how the model is learning, everything I will be covering in this video. So do not worry about it. But this is a very high level flow, right? You go to ChatGPT, as a user, you are asking something, and as a GPT model, the model is answering something, right? That is basically your large language model. And coming on to large language models, there are GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-4o mini, Llama 3, Cloud A, and multiple hundreds and hundreds of large language models are available in the market. Okay, so everything is clear on this part till now. Let's proceed with the next steps. Now, to understand generative AI from scratch in a very professional way, okay, in a very professional way, logically, NLP and transformers are highly recommended. Okay, but as I asked you, everybody told that you are completely new to generative AI. Definitely, you need to learn NLP and transformers. In this particular session, I will not be covering NLP and transformers, because if I start talking about NLP and transformers, I would need a lot of time, at least 10 to 12 hours to cover everything. But without learning NLP and transformers also, I will make sure that you are able to understand the concept of generative AI. And eventually, if you are looking into a career in generative AI, you can go back, one step back, and try and learn NLP and transformer concepts. If you want me to write down the exact topics that are needed to learn all these things, then to learn generative AI, I'll probably give you a rough curriculum or topics that you need to study, but that will be at the end of this video. Okay, so please wait. At the end of this video, just make me remember about this thing. I'll come back. So NLP and transformers are very, very important. Now, try to understand this thing. We'll try to break down. Okay, so let's say here is your large language model. I'm taking an example of GPT-4. GPT-4. What happens? GPT-4 is already trained on trillions and trillions of data, right? How does it interpret? How does it interpret your input? What happens is, as a user, when you're asking a question, your question is broken down into tokens. Okay, so in simple terms, what is a token? Let's say I'm asking this question, right? I'm just giving a very simple explanation. Simply, if you ask me what is tokenization, tokenization is nothing but breakdown of an entire sentence into small chunks or small keywords. So this could be one token, this could be one token, one token, one token, one token, and so on. Now you must be thinking that if this is tokenization, then it is very easy, right? Now this is one type of tokenization. There are multiple types of tokenization. What I am talking about right now is just for an example. I'm talking about a simplest format of tokenization, which is a word to word tokenization. There can be subwords also. Now, for example, you have a word called as running. It can be broken down into two words, run and in, something like this. So this type of tokenization is also available. Okay. Now, tokenization is something again which comes under NLP. If you don't know, please go back and get through the basics. After your sentence, entire sentence is broken down into tokens, then what happens is you start creating the vector space. You are basically converting this entire sentence into tokens, and tokens into embeddings. Embeddings are nothing but converting a sentence into a vector format. Okay, and once your vector format is ready, then you are basically passing it to the GPT architecture, or directly you are calling the OpenAI. Now, OpenAI, as I told you, already has trillions and trillions of data stored. Is it stored in scalar format? Okay, before getting into this, everybody has heard about scalar and vector. Can you tell me what is scalar, what is vector? Anybody in the chat box, what is scalar, what is vector? It's a very basic thing. We have already studied it, but it's just that people don't remember. As simple as that. In physics also we have studied, in mathematics also we have studied. At least you have heard about this. So basically, scalar is, yeah, simplest example is, or simplest explanation is, scalar is a number or quantifiable number which has a magnitude. Vectors are basically quantities that are fully described by magnitude and direction. Okay. So what is an example of a scalar data? Customer information, name, identification, address, everything. You are storing it as numbers or you are storing it as textual data. That is scalar. Vector is you're converting a entire textual data to a numerical format, and then that is called as a vector data. So GPT-4, when I say it is trained by trillions and trillions of data is stored always in a vector format. Okay. So there are millions and millions of vectors. Now, here what happens is when you're asking a question, what is XYZ Private Limited's main work? It is trying to get through this sentence and get the context. First, it gets, oh, this is the company. We want to get its main work and their office location. So contextually, it goes and searches in the OpenAI. Imagine OpenAI has a vector database. It contextually goes and search the vector database. In its vector database, there are trillions and trillions of vectors. It gets the most relevant information, the most relevant vectors, let's say 5 or 6 vectors, and then it basically does a chat completion, and finally user gets the final output. This is how the flow looks like. Okay, so again, these are very high level basic explanation about the flow, how it happens, how iteration happens, and all those things. Okay, now we will try to go through some of the LLM basics topic. I'm looking at the chat box in case anybody has any questions. Till now, if everything is good, we will move ahead. Okay, moving ahead. Little bit, we will talk about transformers. Little bit. Again, I may not be able to cover everything because the agenda is generative AI, but transformers is a prerequisite, right? That is where the blockage is. First of all, what is a transformer? Now, transformers are nothing but an encoder decoder representation. Okay. Now, imagine you are doing a English to Hindi translation. Okay, assuming everybody knows Hindi. If not, you can imagine to be a different language. Now, let's say my bad. So here, let's say my first output is in Hindi. कैसे? या फिर it will be आप कैसे हो, right? My bad. कैसे? Let me draw and then I will explain. Very bad with Hindi letters, but yeah, it's correct, right? Now this is generally a architecture of transformers. Of course, there are a lot of other things as well. Now this is majorly your encoder part. I will write it down as ENC, and this majorly is your decoder part. I'll write it down as DEC. Okay. Now, what does encoder do? Encoder basically takes. It's very clear. I hope everybody will be able to answer this, right? Encoder basically takes the user input, how are you, and then it transforms and sends it to the decoder. So decoder predicts word by word. Now in this case it's a 3-word input and a 3-word output, but there are multiple cases where your English sentences have 10 keywords and your Hindi could have 8 keywords, right? That is also possible. So decoder understands that. Okay. And decoder is able to do the translation. Now, this is traditionally a transformer architecture. Now, after transformers, there come some encoder only architectures. In encoder only architectures, there are some models like BERT, there are some models like Roberta, there are some models like Albert, there are some models like Distilbert, and many more. There are many more. There are multiple encoder only architectures. Okay. Now, BERT is nothing but a encoder only architecture. What happens in BERT is internally, let's say you are passing an input, right? Your input is getting input as in how are you. Okay. So your input is getting converted. Let's say I'm writing it down as how are you. Your input is getting converted into embeddings. Okay. Embeddings, when I say embeddings, think it as a vector data, think it as a numerical data, right? Words are converted into numericals. It could be anything. It could be 0. 0.1, 0. 0.4, 0. 0.6 or something like that, right? Then let's say here there is a positional encoding technique, and then here comes the, let me just bring it little bit down so that it is visible for you properly. Now this is your BERT block. Okay. Or you can call it as a transformer block. Okay. Now here comes, I'm writing down as a TB, transformer block, then another transformer block, then another transformer block, dot dot dot, till multiple transformer blocks. This is your complete BERT model or your complete transformer. This entire piece is your transformer. Okay. Now what is TB, TB, TB? I'll write it down as TB1, TB2, dot dot dot, TB12. Okay. TB12 means there are 12 types of transformer blocks within this particular transformer. Why I gave 12 blocks as an example? Because BERT usually has 12 blocks. Okay. And after that comes the prediction head. For some of you, it will be little bit technical. That's what I told you, that focus on what you are able to grasp. I'm pretty much sure you will be able to grasp a lot of things. Some of the topics you will not be able to understand. This is where you need to go back and try to learn transformers, try to learn little bit about BERT architectures. Transformer video is also there on my channel. If you just search transformer Satyajit, you will get it. Okay. What are embeddings? Good question, Firoj. Please wait till the end. I have an example where I will show you how embeddings are created. I'll give you an example. Okay. So this is what it is, right? Now, some of the examples of encoder only architectures are, now in encoder only architectures, of course, this part is not there, right? Only how are you is there, and then comes the output. So some of the examples of encoder only architectures, what are they able to do? Next word prediction. This is a classic example of encoder only architecture. Or next sentence prediction. Okay. Some sort of text summarization can also be done using encoder only architectures. Okay. Now, after encoder only architectures comes decoder only architectures. So let me just rub this off. Huh. Now let me try to copy this. After encoder only, then comes decoder only. Okay. In decoder only architectures, you don't have encoder. You only have this part. Try to understand this because this is very important. I'm talking about a decoder only architecture. First of all, what is an example of decoder only architecture? GPT is an example of decoder only architecture. That means Chat GPT, all of these kind of LLM bots, anything in the space of generative AI, especially in the textual data, is GPT based architecture, is a decoder only architecture. Now, some things might come to your mind. I'm not sure, but when I learned this topic for the very first time, the first thing that came to my mind was input is coming from here, right? If you completely discard the encoder, what will go as an input to this model? Because this model is only decoding and doing the generation part. What will go as an input? So the input is questionable, right? So two generative pre-trained models, the input is nothing but prompt. So prompt goes into as an input. Okay. What are embeddings? You mean main context? Yeah, as I already explained. Is this applicable to audio data also? Audio data also directly can be converted into vector embeddings, or the simplest way will be audio to text, text to vector. But directly audio data can also be converted into vector database. Again, that is a very very new concept. Many researches are going on in that space. Very few people have hands-on experience on that. I have worked on it. Today is not the right day to talk about it. Maybe in the future I'll talk about a use case where audio data can be directly converted into vector embeddings. It's possible. Okay. So in the GPT architectures, what goes into as an input is your prompt. Now, when the prompt goes in, prompt is again converted into vector data, and then you are basically calling the LLM model, and the LLM model is generating something for you. Okay, that is the thing about the GPT architecture. So the if somebody asks you about transformers, there are three things that you need to explain. First of all, transformer is a encoder decoder architecture. The very first transformer that was introduced is called as attention is all you need. Okay, if you don't know, just note it down. Transformers, you need to study. Attention is all you need. This is the type of transformer that was introduced first. After that, there are multiple transformers like T5 and BART, and then comes encoder only architectures where BERT, Roberta, Albert, Distilbert, all these things model comes, and then comes decoder only architecture where we are talking about generative AI, GPT architecture. Got it? These are the topics. So next, what we will do is we will try to go through some of the LLM basics topic. I will try to take a 1 minute pause. I'm looking at the chat box in case you have any questions. I'll try to answer it. Okay, 1 minute break for all of you. In case you have any questions, you can ask me now, or else I'm looking at the chat box. Okay, so yes, I will be covering Langchain in a nutshell, so you will be able to understand that. Great, Osman. New to generative AI, great. So I already have like a small pitch. I already have a end-to-end generative AI program that is a part of my data science and AI masters program, which is almost like 150 hours. Today only I released some of the projects into the course. In case you just want a one stop solution at a very low cost or affordable pricing, you can join that program. It's at 9999, but I'm giving it at 5999 for the next 3 to 4 days. So in case you want to reach out to me, you can reach out and we can discuss the features personally. Okay, scalar a vector is an object. Yes, that's good. Firoj, why only vectors? Yeah, this question is somewhat related to my last topic, where I will talk about vector databases versus vector index versus traditional databases. Then I will tell you why only vectors. Okay. So what if something is not in vector database and related question is asked to the LLM? Very good question, Siddhan. This is where RAGs will come into picture. Uh, Beyond RAGs, also, if the question is not answerable by the LLM, then we cannot help. It's something like you are asking, I'm asking you about a topic that you don't know. You will not be able to answer, right? Similarly, LLM will also be not be able to answer. But there are some ways where you can train LLM with your own custom data. That is where RAGs will come into picture. I will teach RAGs. I have it covered in the session. Is ML required to learn generative AI? Well, honestly speaking, no. But it is always good if you learn ML, because it's good, right? Because you are learning some tech stacks. Prompt versus encoder. See, when I'm talking about encoder, here I'm talking about the entire model. Okay. Now, your entire model is trained with multiple inputs and multiple outputs. And then when your model is ready, and then we're asking something like do a text summarization or do something or do a translation, where you are giving an example, that input goes into the model, into your entire transformer model, and then you get the output. But decoder does not have the encoder part, so it does not encodes directly. Prompt goes into it. Prompt is something the end user is asking. What is the good example of transformer? um, what do you mean? Please clarify this question. Link to the course, I'll I have it in the video description. Okay, we have taken enough break. I'll pick the rest of the topics very quickly. I'll pick the rest of the topics very quickly. Okay, Pranav, sorry for that. Let's move on with the next topics. So the next topics are going to be little bit non-technical. So it will be very very fascinating for you to learn and understand LLM basics. Now, what are some of the LLM basic topics? Now, when it comes to LLM basics, the very first topic we discuss is tokens. The second topic is going to be context window. Okay. Um, just give me 1 second. I'm forgetting one topic, context window and context overlap or something. But just give me 1 second so that I can confirm you this thing. Okay. Om Namo. Encoder principles I cannot cover in today's session, but if time permits, I will explain in 10-15 minutes at the end of the session. Okay. But yeah, I already have it covered in my programs. Just give me 1 second. Chat. Where is that? Ah, okay. That's okay. Context window, and then we'll move on with prompts. We will be covering some prompt engineering topics as well, but prompt engineering will be the next module. After LLM basics, I will cover that. And after prompting is done, again, there are some topics like RAGs. Let me write it down. Prompt engineering. But I will cover that separately because I have a complete module on prompt engineering. And rags, again, rags I will cover separately. And then we have vector data, vector DB versus vector index. First, try to understand about tokens. What are tokens? Tokens are nothing but, as I told you, when you are breaking down a sentence can be broken down into words or subwords. Like if one of the word is run, your one of the tokens will be run. If one of the words is running, your token could be running, or your token could be run and ing, depending on what type of tokenization are you using. Okay, so in simple terms, tokens are nothing but word, part of word used to break down natural language to manageable chunks. Okay, because this is the very first step. Whenever user is asking something, first it is broken down into tokens, and then it is broken down into vector data. Okay, what is context window? Now, when it comes to GPT 3.5, just for your information, GPT 3.5 is going to be deprecated. So by the end of September, there will be no GPT 3.5. But GPT 3.5 has a 16,000 token limit of input and around 4,000 token limit for output. And when it comes to GPT-4, which is the latest model, in fact, 4.0 is the latest, but I don't have information about 4.0. GPT-4, it's around 128k input, and the output is 4k output. Now, try to understand what exactly is context window. Now, let's say you have a prompt. Okay, the prompt is, let's say, can you describe AI in 5 lines? Okay, first, what happens is you break down into tokens, right? Can you describe AI in 5 lines, right? Now, these architectures already have a defined context window. Okay, I'm not sure about the exact number, and there is no need to memorize the exact number as well, but just try to understand what exactly is a context window. I'll try to give an example so that you will be able to understand it properly. Okay, now for example, you are creating your own large language model. Okay, let's say I'm creating my own large language model. I will name it as sat gpt. Okay, I'm giving it as sat gpt. Now, in my sat gpt, there are millions of data, millions of data. And in my LLM, I have defined my context window to be 20. Okay, imagine. Now there is a user. The user is accessing ChatGPT, and the user is asking something. Let's say he's asking a very, very big sentence. Um, I have I have been working for a project related to edtech where I need to have features like RAG chatbot where teachers can upload a PDF and interact with the chatbot, and also an essay grading platform to grade essays based on custom rubrics. Okay, imagine this is my input. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I will write down my input here. Okay, this is my input. Now my context window is 20. So what will happen? What will happen is Only the last 20 words will go into the, it will be calling sat gpt based on the last 20 words. Let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. Now imagine you only get this as an input. Okay, so I'm asking you this question. Don't look at this top question. Okay, I'm asking you this question. What will you understand? As a human being, what are you understanding? A PDF and interact with the chatbot, and also an essay grading platform to grade essays. See, you are understanding partially, right? It is quite understood that something is missing before this, but what I understand is you are interacting with the chatbot and also have an essay grading platform. Now, if you ask this to the chat GPT, okay, let me, I've been working for this. Give me the high level architecture for this. Okay, I will rechange my prompt. Okay, because that was incomplete. Okay, this is my new. Let me delete it. But I hope you got my point. But let me delete it because my prompt was. This is my prompt. Okay, and imagine my last 20 words are. I'm just arbitrarily taking. Okay, um, these are my last 20 keywords. Okay, now my last 20 keywords are basically from here to here. Now if you ask this, it will generate something because it is getting some context, but it is not getting the full context. So the output, the response is not 100% accurate. So this is the concept of context window. Usually whenever you are working with any kind of LLM models, any LLM model in the market right now, they have a very huge context window. So usually when if you ask no, let's say I'm asking this entire thing as an input, it will still be able to answer something. Even if it has hundreds of keywords, it will still answer something because it is still in the limit of the context window set by GPT 3.5. But imagine your GPT 3.5 has a context window of let's say 1000, and your input is let's say 2000, which means only the last 1000 keywords will go as an input. So there are 100% chances that the final output is not appropriate. When the final output is not appropriate, your GPT model still somehow answers something rubbish. This is called as hallucination. This is an example of hallucination. Okay, there are many other scenarios where the model hallucinates. What is hallucination? It's a simple English word. When your brain stops functioning, right? It becomes frozen. Similarly, sometimes LLM models can be frozen also. That means they will give you some random bullshit answers. Pardon my language. It will give you some random answers which is not relevant, not 100% relevant to what you are trying to ask. Okay, so that is a scenario of hallucination. But I hope you understood what is context window. Now, after prompting, after tokens and context window, let's jump into the next topic, which is prompts. Trust me, many of you might think that you know everything about prompts, you know everything about prompt engineering, but trust me, prompt engineering is not a very easy thing to master. There are a lot of things in prompt engineering. There are papers on prompt engineering also. So even when I started learning prompt engineering, I was thinking, what is this? It's a easy thing, right? I'm just going to the chat GPT and giving a proper question, and I will be able to get the answer. But prompt engineering is a skill that everybody learns step by step. Automatically, when you start interacting with ChatGPT or any other GPT models in the internet, or start working on generative AI projects, slowly you will understand the advantages of prompt engineering. You will automatically be a better version of yourself day by day. Okay, so it will not happen overnight, but try to understand what is a prompt. Prompt basically means your input to your GPT architecture. That is a prompt. Okay, now talking about prompt engineering. In prompt engineering, there are multiple topics that are very important. Many people are dropping, but people who stay till the end, they will be the beneficial ones, because I have an end-to-end project where I will do a code walkthrough. I will share the codes with you also, and it will be an end-to-end project. So it is a fascinating project also, because using that project you can actually create 10 or 15 different types of projects. So be alert and stay till the end. Okay, is there any good course resource to learn prompt engineering? There are multiple YouTube videos, like 2 hours length videos are already there on prompt engineering. But I'm whatever I'm going to cover in 15-20 minutes, it's good enough. And then you have to practically start interacting more with the chat GPT, and eventually your prompt engineering skills will improve. Okay, it's all practice. Anything, Python, machine learning, anything, everything is practice. But most of the topics inside prompt engineering I'm covering today. Okay, don't worry. Context. The second one is task. The third one is persona. The fourth one is format. The fifth one is exemptor. The sixth one is task. A task is gone. The fifth, sixth one is context, task, persona, format, exemptor, tone, tone. Okay, what is context? Now, let's say I ask ChatGPT, can you write me a 200? Sorry, let's ask a smaller one, 50-word story. Now, what you can see is it has randomly answered something, right? Let's say I will ask a little bit bigger one, 200-word story. You can see it has randomly answered something, right? What is the problem here? The problem here is randomness, right? Now, if I ask you something, okay, I'm asking you something, write me a story of, like, write me a 200-word story, or write me a essay on, write me a essay, a one-page essay. Everybody will pick different topics, because you don't have the context. Just before we proceed, Firoj, context window is something set by the LLM. When you are creating your own LLM, you have to set it yourself. But when you are consuming an LLM or using a already existing LLM, they already have set context window. Okay. Hmm. So coming back to the topic, if I ask you some random topic, write me a essay. You will Everybody will pick different topics, right? So you don't have a context, because I have not explained, or I have not talked about a context. So context is very important, else your model will be like a pagal, right? Like a mad guy. It will randomly answer. Task. You have to explicitly give the task. Okay, let's say, what is the task? The task is write a 200-word essay on global warming. Now, this particular prompt is not the best, but at least it has a task and it has a context. Got it? What is persona? Persona is nothing but you are forcing the large language model to act as something. Imagine you want the large language model to act as a AI expert and then give you tips about some topic. That can also be done. As an AI expert or general practitioner, advise a patient about how type 2 diabetics should be treated. So you are forcing the chat GPT as act as an general practitioner and advise a patient how to deal with type 2 diabetes. Now here it will act as a general practitioner and then it will give you some feedbacks. Now somebody might be asking you, somebody might be thinking this in your head, what if we don't pass this? Will this still answer similar way? It will still answer similar way because this persona thing is something that is automatically there in the uh, in this OpenAI chatbot, in this chat GPT. Imagine you want to create your own chat GPT which should only answer on medical topics. If you ask who is MS Dhoni, it should not answer. In those kind of projects, you have to explicitly program your model, your chatbot in such a way that it will only answer topic specific details on healthcare or on something. Random questions it will not answer. There is already a video on YouTube on the same topic. I have done a old video on climate change bot Satyajit, and then if you look at this, oh, my video is not famous. Climate change chatbot, generative AI chatbot with chat GPT. Now in this project I have explicitly used a prompt like, as a climate change expert, try to answer topics related to climate change. Okay. Similarly, you can also create your own chat GPT based on prompt engineering. And when you are interacting as an end user, this is not needed. But if you give, the output will be a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Understood. The fourth most important point is formatting. Formatting is how do you want the output? Let's say exact same thing looks good, no doubt. Looks good. But what if you want a word, write a 200-word essay on global warming with exactly 3 paragraphs, and the middle paragraph should have bullet points. It's a very weird ask, but I'm just showing you uh, the, the capabilities. That's it. Um, it has not answered because it's a very weird ask, right? Let me try to ask a different question. Write a YouTube script for my channel on, let's say, generative AI and LLMs, um, careers in generative AI. Make sure the script is properly formatted and has bullet points. So I'm asking the script to have bullet points. So you can see bullet points are there. So this is the advantage of formatting. So the way you write, the way ChatGPT or any kind of language model will respond. So formatting is also a very very important topic. See, all these names you don't have to memorize. Do not worry कि ये सब हमको learn करना पड़ेगा. Do not worry about that. Just understand how to write a prompt. Okay, automatically once you write, automatically it will you will understand. Exemptor basically means when you are giving a sample answer. Okay, now I will show you something for exemptor. Let's say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, similarly, can you also tell me different tips for pursuing a career in data engineering? So here you can see, right? I have just given an example. I have not asked the AI model to respond it in formatted options or bullet points. In the previous question, I gave bullet points, but in this question, I have not given bullet points. I've just asked similarly. You can also tell me different tips, and you can see I have the bullet points, right? That is the advantages of adding an exemptor as an example, right? So the last one is tone. Tone basically means your mood or attitude. Okay, how you want the LLM should answer. Should the LLM answer with humorous? Let's say, write a 200-word essay on climate change with humor. You can see the wordings, the ultimate mood spoiler of Nature's party. So it has added humor. So you can also do this. So these are the most important points when it comes to prompt engineering. Okay. Now, writing prompts also is a very skillful thing. Okay. Prompt tuning. The next topic is prompt tuning. We'll take a break in next 5-10 minutes, and then we will jump into the most important topic, which is RAGs. One of the topics which is the most important in generative AI. What is prompt tuning? Prompt tuning basically is nothing but it enhances the adaptability of large language model for tasks by fine tuning minimal set of prompt parameters. Okay. Now, prompt engineering is also very important. There are different types of writing prompts. Prompt engineering, writing prompt techniques. There are majorly 3-4 types of techniques. One of them is zero shot. One of them is a one shot technique. One of them is a few shot technique. Apart from that, there are multiple topics like chain of thoughts, tree of thoughts. Those are very advanced techniques. You can easily search on the YouTube, you will get it. Let's try to understand what these three are. What is zero shot? Zero shot basically means write a YouTube script. Now, there is no context on a ML topic. So here there is a context, there is a title. I mean, it understands that it's related to ML, but again, not nothing much is explained here, right? You have to take one step further to explain that write a YouTube script on a particular topic. Let's say feature engineering or something. That is called as one shot. When you are providing multiple examples, that is basically few shot. Few shot looks like this. Like let's say write a 5-minute YouTube script. Five, write a script for a 5-minute YouTube video on types of feature encoding techniques. Make sure to start the script with a hook and end the script with a question mark for the audience. Now, here you are giving enough information, and you can see when the introduction starts, it is actually giving you like exciting music fades in, the camera pans to the host standing in front, and this is the hook line. Hook line is welcome data enthusiasts and the future data scientists Today, we are diving deep into the world of feature encoding techniques, a crucial aspect of data pre-processing and machine learning. Have you wondered how we transform raw data into meaningful insights? Now, this is the hook line. What is a hook line? Hook line is something that keeps the audience engaged. And I have also mentioned that end the script with a question mark. Let's see. If I go down, you can see there is a question. Which feature encoding techniques resonates with you the most? So that is the power of writing a prompt. Okay. So we'll take a break here, very quick break. We will come back with the most important topic for tonight, which is going to be rags. Very, very important topic. Do not miss this. Please be back in next 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It must be 9:03, right? 9:07, right? Let's come back by 9:12. Okay. In the meanwhile, I'm going through the open questions that are in the chat box. Okay. Is there any good course? I can Google it out on YouTube. There are some videos on prompt engineering. Yeah. So do not worry about it. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to ask me. In the meanwhile, while we people are away for a break, short break, just wanted to tell you that in case you are looking out for, you know, knowledge, end-to-end knowledge on data science and AI, I already have a program. Let me just log out. I already have a program on data science and AI. Basically, data analytics is also a part of it. So you can consider this as a end-to-end data bundle. Everything is there. Not a single topic is not covered here. Everything is covered here. Python is there, stats is there, SQL, machine learning. See the number of lectures in machine learning. Lot of lectures are there. Time series analysis itself is 60 lectures. Deep learning is there. NLP is there. Transformers and generative AI is there. If you look at the transformers and generative AI, see a lot of topics are there, including transformers, encoder architectures, robota, BERT fine tuning, BERT pre tuning. Lot of topics are there. Especially this transformers and generative AI itself is like 10 to 12 hours of content. LLM Basics, RAGs, everything is there. Deployment videos are also there. Power BI and Tableau, you see one lecture because I already have a Power BI and Tableau course. So here I have just given you the coupon codes so that you can avail it for free. Then we have data engineering topics, machine learning, deep learning projects, and generative AI. Right now we have 7 projects, but I already have multiple projects pipelined. So we will be adding contents. And then we have a final assignment. This course is 9,999, but we are selling it at 5,999. The link will be in the description. Firoz, please send the coupon code again. There is no coupon code, Jayant. There is the direct link in the in the 1 second. 1 second. I'm not 100% sure whether I have given the direct link or not. But yeah, what's just feel free to connect me on WhatsApp and then I can send you the payment link. My WhatsApp number is provided uh, in the chat box. Okay. Please do share your view on the shortest pathway to learn RAG. Someone said we can learn RAG even as a beginner and as a standalone tech. Yeah, we can. That's true. RAGs can be understood and implemented uh, to certain extent. Almost see, if you skip mathematics and statistics you can still learn data science, right? It's something like that. Deep decision trees, even if you don't know anything about entropy or entropy based learning or Gini indexes, you don't know the mathematics behind it, you can still implement decision tree. There is no problem in that. That is a very practical way of implementing. You can implement a decision tree classifier and deploy your application. So, but if you want to learn in depth, you have to learn the mathematics behind it. So the correct path is NLP, transformers, and then generative AI. But in today's class also, you can understand RAG and also go ahead and do a project. See, I have seen a lot of people who, in fact, I'll give you a uh, very good example of some of my interns that are working with me. I'll not tell everybody, but I'll take just one example. One of my intern who joined, um, he had great amount of projects in their resume. Did this, did that, using BERT, using this, using that. The first question that I asked her, simple question: what is the difference between encoder and decoder architecture? And is GPT a decoder only architecture or encoder only architecture? Their resume was filled up with generative AI and BERT projects. They were not able to answer. Then I, so the thing I'm trying to explain here is, you will be able to understand and implement codes. You will be able to do end-to-end projects also. But the path is, it's better if you learn NLP and then learn transformers and then jump into generative AI. Okay. Okay, time's up. We'll move on with RAGs, the most important topic for the day, and a very interesting topic. Especially, I love this topic because it is interesting. You will love it. Now, first of all, what is RAG? RAG is retrie- retrieval retrieval augmented generation. Okay, so RAG is retrieval augmented generation. Okay, I'm hiding your this thing. um, Class files and all will be shared. Yes. Now, the goal is, the goal of RAG is to take the information and pass to LLMs. Okay, and then of course generate the output. Obviously, right? That's a very obvious requirement. You take the information, pass to the LLM, and you will be able to generate an output. Right? What exactly is the retrieval process? What is retrieval? Retrieval is an English keyword. Most of you might understand. Retrieval is fetching, right? The meaning of retrieval is fetching. So, with the context of LLM, with the context of generative AI, this retrieval part is nothing but finding the relevant information given in a query. I'm writing it down. Finding the relevant information in the query. Let's say some topics. Let's say some topics. Now imagine you have a data, okay? Hundreds of pages of data. Let's say in paragraph number 5, they have mentioned about Sachin Tendulkar. In paragraph number 105, they have mentioned about Sachin Tendulkar. And anywhere in the book, they have not mentioned about him. Okay. Now, if you ask something about Sachin Tendulkar, firstly, it will understand the context that it is asking about a person named Sachin Tendulkar. Then it will convert it into vectors. From this document also, there are millions and millions of vectors, right? Millions. Contextually, it will identify, oh, this one and this one are the most relevant vectors related to Sachin Tendulkar. And then it finally gives you the final output. It does the chat completion. Now, this part is the retrieval part. Okay. Augmentation is also related to retrieval because augmentation what is augmentation? In the context of deep learning, augmentation is increasing the number of images or increasing the number of data, right? Here, augmentation basically means taking the relevant information. That means augment our input or prompt to the large language model. Okay. And generation is nothing but the output, the generation part. Now, if I go to ChatGPT, I will ask what is EDA. Now, what's happening is it is going and getting the most relevant context and then giving you a final output, right? If I ask, let's say I will ask a simple question. I took the same example. I'm taking the same example for today's class also. Imagine I am a Vodafone user. Nothing to imagine, I'm actually a Vodafone user. But imagine you are a Vodafone user. Now, from the last 5 months, okay, I'll give another example. People who have joined my previous class, they will be thinking, sir always gives examples of telecom. Okay, imagine I'm talking about a very good example, healthcare related example. Okay, imagine you went to a hospital, okay, and you did some blood tests you did, glucose tests you did, and so on. Okay, multiple tests you did, and let's say you got some report. Now, if you go to ChatGPT and ask, can you summarize about my blood reports? Now, ChatGPT has no context, has no information. Why? Because ChatGPT is trained with millions and trillions of data, but your blood report is not a part of it. It's not trained. It's your own data, which you generated just today. Today morning, 1st September, you did a test, and ChatGPT does not know about your reports. Now, in this case, how can I solve this problem? Can I build my own LLM, or should I just use an existing LLM and pass my own data so that the LLM understands? Can something like this be done? 100% something like this can be done. And that is where RAGs come into picture. The main goal of RAGs is to improve the generation of the output of large language models. Whatever I'm telling, please note it down. Please create notes. Just don't just blindly watch the videos, okay? So make notes. The main goal of RAGs is to improve the generation of outputs. Okay. Jayant has some questions. I'll pick those questions. Okay. Just give me. Just don't let. I'm not getting interrupted right now, so I'm moving ahead. Okay. I'll come back to your questions. One of the classic problems with large language models is hallucinations. So RAGs helps you to prevent hallucination. Okay. How does it do that? Obviously, if you, let's say you take a model and you are implementing your own data as a RAG data, your LLM model might have an information about your reports, and then when you ask a question, it will be able to answer. So your output is not going to look like this. It is going to look like a better output, contextually a better generation, right? So this is where RAG comes into picture and helps large language models generate information based on relevant passages or relevant data. The second is custom data, obviously related to each other, but custom data means you can use your own data to create a chatbot. Now, you might be asking me, give me some use cases about generative AI. There are at least 1,000 use cases that I can give. Okay, so Some of the use cases of RAG is customer support Q&A. Okay, imagine you have a chatbot for your own company with a predefined questions, thousands and thousands of questions. You can create your own chatbot. People can ask questions contextually. If they get the question from your question list, they will get the answers automatically, right? Another is website scraped data chatbot. See, wordings is difficult, but I think you are able to understand. Let's say I have my own website. Okay, I want to create a chatbot here where anybody asks a question, anything about my company. Tell me what is the price of Power BI course? What is the price of this end to end Power BI cryptocurrency course? The bot should be able to answer because the bot already has information about the entire data from this website, right? That is another use case of RACs. Okay, your data science, data analytics, or AI assistant or coach. Imagine you have your own documents, Power BI documents, Python documents, any kind of documents. You can use those documents on top of your large language model and you can create a chatbot. Okay. Yes, RAGs are used for fine tuning the models. Yes. Analyzing resume. So you are passing your own resume with a job description and you are analyzing and getting a score. So something like that. Research chatbot. Let's say you are going through hundreds and hundreds of research papers. It is a very tedious task for you to go through hundreds and hundreds of research papers. You can create your chatbot and then your research paper is ready. As I mean, your research paper is trained, you can ask anything from the bot. Simple. And similarly, there are multiple other use cases of RAGs. Okay, now let's try to talk about, okay, there is a beautiful paper on RAGs. Please search this physically, and I'm not sending the link of this paper. Retrieval augmented generation for knowledge, intensive NLP tasks. If you search, there is a paper on RAGs which was released like 4 5 years back, and if you go through the paper, you should be able to access the paper very easily. If you go through the paper, you will understand some reasons why retrieval augmented generation was introduced. Okay, now let's try to talk about the architecture, which is very very important. How how are we talking about, like how do we use RAGs? Let's say I'm taking example of this. Okay, pay attention, this is very important. Very beautiful architecture we will draw, okay, from scratch. I'm talking about research chatbot. Imagine you have your own research papers, right? And you want to create a chatbot, especially on this research paper. The chatbot should answer only from this particular research paper, not from the internet. Okay? If you ask something like who is Sachin Tendulkar, or who is Putin, or who is Roger Federer, it should not answer. Now this is where RAGs comes into picture. Now the architecture looks like this. It will take me some time to draw. Let me draw, and then in the meanwhile, after that, after the drawing is done, then I will explain you. Okay. Okay, let me explain while I draw. So you have your PDF document. Imagine this document, okay? This document you have. You are passing this document and basically you are pre-processing it. Text to chunks. So imagine this is a 19-page document. Just imagine, okay? Let's say your document has around 15,000 words or tokens. You're basically converting it into chunks. Okay, let's say each chunk is having like 1000 words, so there could be like 15 chunks, right? Now here comes another topic. um, Generative AI is huge. Okay, here comes a topic called as chunk overlap. Okay, let me, I will explain chunk overlap here. So imagine, I'll take a simple example. Okay, I'll not take an example of 1500 words. Let's say, this is my entire document. Okay, imagine this is my entire document. How many words are there? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, blah blah blah. Okay, imagine there are 100 words. Okay, now you want to define, let me draw on the right side. You want to have a chunk of 20 words. Your chunk should have 20 words. Okay, so blindly, if I ask you how many chunks we will have, everybody will answer there will be 5 chunks, right? Simple. But it's not that simple. There is also another concept called as chunk overlap. Chunk overlap is a hyperparameter. Okay, imagine you are defining your chunk overlap as 10. What does that mean? That means in the first chunk, imagine these are your 20 words. These are your 20 words. So this becomes a part of your document 1 or chunk 1. The last 10 keywords along with the next 10 keywords become a part of the document 2. Similarly, the last 10 keywords from document 2 and the rest 10 keywords becomes document 3. Able to understand what is overlap, right? Able to understand, right? Everybody? So imagine my chunk is of, let's say, 20 words, right? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say chunk is of 10 words. Chunk is 10 words. And chunk overlap is, let's say, 2 words. Just example, okay? So this becomes your document 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till advance. This becomes your document 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This becomes your document 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This becomes your document 4. Able to get? This is not that difficult to understand. This is how your chunks are being created. Now, the reason why these chunks are created, because it should have a context of the previous chunk, right? Because they are interrelated to each other, right? So that is what happens. So I'm kind of removing this and also removing this. Got it? And zooming into our architecture. So, okay, coming back to the architecture. So PDF preprocesses text to chunks, then chunks are here, smaller document chunks. Now, smaller document chunks are being converted into vector data. Okay, this is your vector data. Okay, now vector data is basically stored in either a vector index or stored in a vector database. Vector index or a vector database. What is vector Index. Simply, vector index is something like, imagine you don't have a database. Locally, you want to store in a folder all the vector data. So, locally, you can store. So, that is something called as a vector index, a local storage or an in memory storage where you're locally storing. So, every time you upload a document, vector indexes will be created again. Okay. So, imagine your data is getting stored either here or here, right? Now, as a user, let's say you are asking a query. Let's say your query is obviously related to this PDF document. Let's say, what is RAG? Now, what's happening is RAGs are also getting converted into vector data, and then from the vector data, it is basically going to the vector database, and from the vector database, it basically brings the vector data of this one and all the relevant information, right? And here it calls the OpenAI model. Let's say you are using OpenAI or any kind of model, and this is where OpenAI task is, in this case, is nothing but chat completion, and then it goes to the user as an output. That is your output. This is the entire architecture of a RAG based model. Anybody who does not understand, you can let me know. Yes, Firoj, that is correct. Okay. Okay, before we proceed, Jayant has a question. Nowadays, everyone is talking about hyper automation, that is AI infused solution. Do you have any architecture or PPT or diagrams for the same? AI infused solution, it's a very generic topic. If you have a very specific use case, you can tell me, or we can discuss on WhatsApp. Okay. Some tests you did in hospital and got reports. Go to ChatGPT and ask about reports. Broad report is not part of it. Use existing LLM or build your own LLM. That is where yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, got it. That is all about RAGs. Now, try to understand what exactly is a vector database, and what is the difference between vector database and a vector index. Okay, so vector database. First of all, what is a vector database? Vector database is something which stores vector data. Okay, now everybody knows about SQL, right? SQL databases, Oracle SQL, MySQL. We already have these traditional databases, right? Traditional DBs. Why do we need a vector database for a RAG based model? Traditional databases are storing scalar data. Okay. Vector data also can be stored. There is no problem. You can store vector data into these traditional databases also, but it is not recommended. Why? Because as compared to scalar data, vector data could be very huge. It could be huge. So when a user is asking a question, imagine what will be the latency time to get the relevant information from a scalar data. It will be very, very slow because it has to go through the entire database. So it's not recommended to use a traditional database for vector data. Especially for vector data, we have vector databases. Many companies are having their own vector databases. Okay, AWS has its own, Azure has its own. Azure has something called as Azure AI Search. There is a platform called as Pinecone, Quadrant multiple vector databases are there in the market. Okay, So obviously vector databases will be costly. With a just for testing purpose, you can use Pinecone. Pinecone gives you of 2 GB storage. I also have a Pinecone for my personal project. You can use Pinecone. It's very simple, very easy to use. In fact, one of the projects in the AI program, I have used Pinecone, and I have also done the deployment of that. So if you just need an explanation on Pinecone, it's already there. So here you have to create indexes, and then using these indexes, we have to push the data. So the data gets stored here. You can see I'm using the same rag paper, right? Different chunks are getting stored in different indexes. I mean, same index but different IDs. So, anyways, um, vector database is very fast as compared to traditional database. Okay, now how it is very fast? Because it uses some techniques like linear search. So there is a technique called as locality. There are multiple techniques. Okay, there is a technique called as ANN, not the nearest neighbors thing. Um, let's talk about locality sensitive hashing. Locality sensitive hashing is usually used in the vector databases. So a simplest explanation of this is, um, imagine you have a database. Okay, so imagine you have a vector database. What you are doing is you are having different partitions. Now when a user is asking a question, it first identifies the context, and from the context only it identifies that the relevant information is in this block and in this block. So it does not go into this block for searching. That's why it is a bit faster as compared to traditional databases. Okay, so it uses multiple uh, techniques like locality sensitive hashing, ANN, and various other things to get things faster. For practice, you can also use vector indexes. Now, what exactly is vector index? Vector index is nothing but a local storage where you are not using a vector database. So imagine it as a in-memory local storage. Okay. One of the techniques that we use while using vector index is FAISS, which is Facebook AI similarity search. Using this, imagine you have your documentation here. Let's say you are not using the vector database, you are using vector index. So here you can implement a FISS. So whenever the question is being asked using FAISS, you are retrieving the information from the vector index and giving it to the OpenAI. So the advantages of vector database is very simple. Database management, metadata management, scalability is a very very big plus point. Real time updates can be done, backups are available, and data is always secured. So the last part of the session is about one of our projects related to generative AI. So we will be doing the RAG chat, the research chatbot. How good is this, guys? What do you mean? Sorry, Mitch. You can clarify, Mitch. I can answer your question. It should be AI plus RPA plus scripting plus DevOps plus runbook automation, require generic architecture or design modular architecture. Okay. Firoz, just a dumb question. Is the RAG architecture is considered as a decoder? Yeah, I mean, imagine RAG is like a wrapper class. Like you already have a GPT architecture, and then on top of that you are just using a wrapper class. Simple example, you have a brain, right? On top of that brain you are basically passing your own data. Now imagine a researchers usually have sharp brain, right? Or I'm talking about some technologically very advanced people who have a knowledge on mostly all the topics. Imagine there is a topic that they don't know. If you give them that document, probably they will be able to understand easily and will be able to answer from that particular context. That is what RAG is doing. So RAG is calling the GPT architecture, and it's eventually a decoder only architecture. When can we use vector index and when can we use vector database? Okay, that's a very good question. In production level, 100% you have to use vector database. There is no point, you should not discuss about this question. As simple as that. For practice projects, as vector databases are costly, for 2 GB 3 GB you can use Pinecone, you can use some databases, but usually for portfolio projects, when you are practicing, you go for vector indexes. Okay. And again, for example, talking about a simple example, let's say you are creating a platform where you want your users to upload their resume and you get a resume score. Now here it's a one time thing, right? You upload your resume, you get a score. Now there is no need of vector database here. So you can directly use vector index, because when you're uploading a document, index will be created locally, you get the answer immediately, right? So vector database is not required there. And when you have a complex use case, like let's say I'm going to talk about a research case study, right? Now here, if you upload it once, your database is ready, your vector indexes are ready in the, sorry, your vector data is ready in the database. So anytime you come, you are going to leverage this document, you can just call and get the answers. You don't have to create the vector data again and again, right? In vector index we create it again and again. Okay. Are you Odia? Yes, I'm from Odisha. Yes. Okay, moving on with the project. So I have a collab notebook. I'll quickly walk you through this example, through this use case. Already have the code ready, so I'm not going to uh, write it down from scratch. It will take me a lot of time. So these are some of the prerequisite installation libraries that are needed. Uh, all of these are needed. So I have written down in the code. Codes will be provided to you, so do not worry about it. People who are watching out this stream have not liked this stream yet. Please like it. It's well appreciated if you like, because it helps me. Just attending the video is not enough. You have to like. Um, those who have not subscribed, God will punish you. Just kidding. Please subscribe the channel as well, and also share these videos with friends and groups, because I think today what we have studied, I'm pretty much sure most of you have, even if you had zero knowledge, you have some knowledge after the session, right? So it's definitely beneficial. If you think so, please forward these videos to your groups, to your friends and family and people who are interested to know more about generative AI. Okay, so coming back to this code. Okay, my installation is done. Okay, there is a OpenAI key that I don't want to show you, so I'm importing all the libraries. Once this importing is done, I will quickly run that code and move to the next line. Sorry guys, I cannot show you the OpenAI key because it will be breached, right, if you get the keys. So in the previous line, I have just defined a variable called as OpenAI key, and I have defined my key. That's it. Okay. So in case you just can go to the OpenAI platform, generate your own key, and you will be able to test this. Now, in this piece of code, what's happening is I'm just calling the OpenAI directly on this key, and then I'm asking what is EDA. Obviously, the model will be able to answer, right? Because it already has information about EDA and various other topics. Similarly, when you're using custom data set, In this case, we are using a rag paper, right? This is the same paper that I'm going to use. Problem statement is clear. Problem statement is, as a research analyst or as a researcher, I'm really worried about going through research papers in depth, right? At least from my point of view, when I go through research papers, it is very time consuming. Some of the times you are not able to understand. What if I can pass this document to my large language model as a rag, as a rag, and then I can ask my LLM with simple terms and I will be able to understand. That is what the use case is all about, right? So I have uploaded the file. Let me rename it, and then my renaming is done. Now in this piece of code, what's happening is, okay, something is wrong. Pip install pdf. Okay, let me install it here then. I'll come back to your question, Thorpin, or sorry, Ayushman. I'll come back to your question. It's a very good topic. I'll try to give you some pointers, okay? Maybe in 15 minutes. Let's cover this, finish this, and then we'll jump back to questions. Now, here, let me run this. What's happening here is, I will going back to this architecture. So, this part, the uploading part, is clear. I'm uploading and loading it. Using recursive character text splitter, I'm creating a chunk size of 1000. So in this case, I'm creating a chunk size of 1000, and my chunk overlap is 200. Understood? Right? Very simple. And then I have my chunks. So I have all my chunks. Right? Then what? Then what I'm doing is I'm creating embeddings. So this part, the vector embeddings are being created. So I'm using OpenAI embeddings, passing the OpenAI API key to create the embeddings. I'm as a document, I'm passing the chunks. As an embedding, I'm passing the embeddings. That's it, simple. Now here, this part, what's happening is I'm importing the conversational retrieval chain. I have a prompt template. Now my template is very simple. Given the following conversation and a follow-up question, rephrase the following question to be a standalone question. This is not needed for this particular example, but let it be. And this prompt, I'm using it as a condensed question prompt. As a retriever, I'm using db dot as a retriever. What is db? Db is nothing but my FAISS from documents. Okay, the Facebook AI similarity search from the documents, right? So retriever basically means you are retrieving the information, right? Return source documents true, verbose false. These are basic parameters. If you don't want, you can ignore it. Now let's say I will randomly ask a question. Who is Sachin Tendulkar? My bad with the statement. Sachin, it answered. Wow. It okay. I will have to change. Okay. Yeah, there was a hallucination, so somehow it answered. But yeah, with better prompting, you can always restrict it, right? So do not worry. Generally, it should not answer, and it is not answering. Who is Sachin Tendulkar? It says I don't know. Similarly, if you ask him some other question, let's say, um, what is NDA? I don't know. Sorry, right? It is not in the context of the document. But if you ask what is RAGs, it will answer, because it is getting a linkage from the documents being trained, that the chunks being trained, and it is able to get the answers. Okay, so that's it. Your bot is ready, and then you can actually take this piece of code and convert it into a Flask application. Those who know Flask or Streamlit, Basically, you can take this piece of code and convert it into a Streamlit application. Or else you can take help of ChatGPT and also do that. Just copy paste whatever I have mentioned here. Go to ChatGPT or open u.com or poe.com. Pass your entire piece of code. I'm not passing everything, but if you pass, you will be able to get the output. So let's say this, convert this to a Streamlit app. So ChatGPT will be able to generate your code. Streamlit application it has generated. You can see basic setup is done, the code is done, Streamlit title is given. I'm not sure if this will 100% work or not, but you can give it a try. Okay, I'm not trying to waste more time. I think we are done with the program, at least with the generative AI part. So whatever you have learned so far, I'll try to repeat. We have gone through the basics of generative AI. We have gone through the basics of large language models. We have gone through prompts, prompt engineering, RAGs, vector databases, and vector indexes. So this is the end of today's session. Just repeating once again about the program, because that is my source of income. That is where I get my money back of the efforts that I'm putting. I already have an end-to-end program on data science and AI. I was There are a lot of topics here, a lot of modules. In fact, each and every topic related to the field of data is a part of this program, starting from Python, stats, SQL, machine learning, everything is here. There are some topics which is not a part of data science and AI, topics like ML ops, topics like big data. Those topics also I'm trying to get into this course, but it will take some time for me. And this course is a never ending course. If you take this program now, every week, every month, there are some new additions to this program. So you will be able to be a benefit, you can take benefit of that. In fact, right now I'm doing a recording of computer vision videos. Computer vision videos will also go live very soon. At least 5 6 more projects will go live very soon. So it's like an ongoing course, but it's almost ready. Like it's ready, it's not almost ready, it's ready. Whatever I'm adding right now is like a top up. It's like an extra feature that I'm giving. Okay, and then on top of that, ad hoc requests are also entertained in this program. Imagine you have a certain topic which is not covered here. I feel that yes, this is a topic that I missed. Immediately, if you raise it in the community, I will do the changes. Once you join this program, you will be a part of our internal WhatsApp group where 24x7 support will be provided, intensive certificate will be provided, and whatnot. This entire program comes at 5999 right now with discounts. The discounted link is already given in the description. If you want to pay immediately, you can pay. If you have some questions, you can reach out to me and I will try to clarify your doubts. Now, over to you for some questions. Okay. Um, I'll just have 5 10 minutes for Q&A. In case you feel you need a dedicated 1 hour or 2 hour Q&A session on anything and everything related to the field of data and AI, just if you are interested, after this video is completed, as in my live streaming is completed, let me know in the comment section if you are interested for a Q&A session with me to ask generally about yourself, about anything about data and AI. I'm happy to take a 1 hour session maybe on Wednesday or maybe next Saturday. But let me know in the comments. Okay, so coming back to questions one by one. Okay, so Ayushman has a question. Don't you think it is really hard to get an internship in the data science AI domain in Odisha? Do I have to go outside of Odisha in order to get an internship? Well, Internship and jobs. The job market is impacted. Okay, I'll be very honest. Firings were done. Lot of firings happened in the last 1.5 year. The market is still recovering. So, anyways, we are in a negative scenario right now, right? On top of that, in the data science and AI domain, 100 jobs, 1,000 students. I'm just giving an example. The number of students are huge. With generative AI, chat GPT coming in, people are blindly taking the help of chat GPT to create resumes. So it is nearly impossible for recruiters to go through the resumes to identify who has real talent, who is faking, unless and until you take an interview. So that is also very difficult. And on top of that, as a fresher also, it's very very difficult to get into this domain, because usually for freshers, I recommend them to go for data analytics, and then from there go into data science and AI. Ayushman, if you are a student, you when is your graduation, Ayushman? You can let me know in the comments. If your graduation year is next year, probably I can hire you as an intern. You can work with me with for some of the projects, but again, I have to see your resume and then comment. But yeah, one input I would like to give is, do not restrict with Odisha. There are a lot of remote jobs and internships as well. Keep applying. Go, keep an eye on Internshala, Internsgate. These are the two platform, Internshala and Internsgate. Internsgate or Interngate, I don't remember, but something like that. If you search, you will get a lot of internship opportunities there. Is it mandatory we have to specify the chunk overlap while processing data? Yeah, I mean, it's like you are giving context to the next chunk, right? So let's say Firoz is there, and let's say another person is there, and you both need to learn a topic. Let's say something. I give you a context, I give you a sentence, I give complete random sentence to the second person. And when you both interact with each other, you will not be able to understand, right? So overlap is needed. It's very important. Gosh, this has now started sounding so all geek to me, but I'm hanging in as an over. Okay. You need to hang, as simple as that. Keep hanging. This is a domain that will help you grow. The entry is difficult, but once entry is done, it's good. Life is good. As simple as that. But entry is difficult. You have to keep fighting. Do not, I usually also tell people that don't worry about um, initial packages. Even if it is very low package, go for it. Here, are you storing the data PDF in the vector DB? In this example, no. The research bot example I gave, I was storing it in vector index. If I show you, I have never used vector database here. I'm using FAISS. Okay, I'm using FAISS, which is a vector index. That means locally it will be stored. Okay. Now, bro, I wasted my money on PW data science AI course. Yeah, I mean, most of the students that come to me, they usually spend a lot outside. They realize that they do not get that much of knowledge or information, and they come back. So because I'm not that famous, right? If you search on Google, there are thousands of other trainers available who will come on top of me, because I'm not famous. But if you know people who have taken my programs, they know the quality of the program, they know the quality of the teaching. I usually don't. There are companies who bullshit. They teach you topic 1, they sell you one course, after that they sell you another course, after that they sell you another course. In my programs, usually it's end to end. You just take one program, that's it, done and dusted for life. Data analytics is also covered in the program. Power BI is there, Tableau is there, data engineering basics are also there, entire data science is there, computer vision is also coming. Everything is there at the price of 6,000 right now. There is no discount coupon code. A direct link is already there in the description, or else you can ping me on WhatsApp. Okay. My WhatsApp numbers are easily available. uh, ढूंढने से तो भगवान भी मिल जाता है, मेरा व्हाट्सएप नंबर तो मिल ही जाएगा. बट आई एम शेयरिंग माय व्हाट्सएप number in the chat box. Okay. Can find the course link in the yeah. Please share the direct link. Direct course link. You just have to go to Zep Analytics. Just go to the courses. Direct link I will share, but you can also explore. Somewhere here. Oh, something is wrong. Internet is slow. Okay, maybe something is wrong with my website. But yeah, if you just search for masters, you will be able to get somewhere here. I'll leave the link in the description. Okay, so no, nothing to worry about. Can we work as a freelancer with you? With freelancing, I usually have a very closed network, internal team. I do not take new people as freelancers because freelancing work is all about money, right? And when you are involved with a client project where money is at stake, you do not take a risk, right? So I usually don't take a risk by hiring somebody or by you working with somebody whom I don't know. So usually when people start working with me, they start as interns, work on some random projects for my YouTube channel, for my course, and slowly when I see there is a good knowledge that the person has, then I involve them in freelancing projects. Many of my interns who joined me like 4 5 years back, right now they're working with me as freelancers. They are working somewhere else in different companies, and they come and do freelancing with me. How much coding is required? Because in ML we need good, yeah, Python is needed. For generative AI, hell yeah, even more, because I showed you the code, right? Python is needed. You cannot really write down these codes from scratch. If you are an end user, you are just worried about prompt engineering, well, Python is not needed. But if you are a developer, you want to develop AI bots or chatbots as an AI engineer, it is needed. Hell yeah. Is this an end-to-end project? Yes, research chatbot is an end-to-end project. Of course, right now it is not treated as an end-to-end because you don't have a front end, right? But if you have a front end like this, right? Front end, this is for my company, just ignore. But if you have a front end like this and you are uploading your document, let's say I'm uploading my rag paper here, processing it, this is an end-to-end project. And then let's say I'm asking what is rag. I already asked one question. Rag is something blah blah blah. And then if I go to my document and I will ask what are the methods used, what are the methods used in this paper. Now this is an end-to-end project, right? So yeah, yeah, Subrajit Patnaik. I mean, my brother's name is also Subrajit Patnaik. I'm sure you are not my brother. My brother's name is Subrajit Patnaik, and if he is joining this session, I'm really happy to see him. I'll DM you on WhatsApp to stay in contact. Yeah, sure, no issues. How video is created? Yeah, maybe he's pranking with me. I don't know. How video is created from text prompt? Well, that's a different story. That's video generation part. Yeah, it's difficult to explain now. Oh, Ankur Patel, wow. Glad you are a part of this video, this live session. You have always been a hater of this channel. I wonder why you are still a subscriber of me. But I always see your negative comments and I get motivated from there. Thanks for joining the session. Last 2 minutes to pick questions. Anybody has any other questions? Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people talking about me bullshitting topics, me doing this, me doing that. He knows nothing, blah 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 blah, which is good for me because comments helps me to grow and haters helps me to motivate more. I get motivations, which is good. How can we optimize the cost of generative AI projects as we are using ChatGPT, Cloud, any other? Firoz, there are many models that are not involved, that they don't involve cost. There are many free models also. Okay, so free models I have not covered here, but you can go through Hugging Face. There are some Hugging Face models. Llama 3 is also there. Well, what we can do is next Saturday we can do a session on a free model. Okay, completely free of cost. But the only problem with free models is that you have to download them. They will be like in 8 GB, 16 GB. Your system might not be capable enough to process those kind of models. As simple as that. Apart from that, there are free APIs also. Like Gemini right now is free. Okay, similarly there is something called as Grok also provides Llama 3 APIs, which is also free. So slowly move from OpenAI to some free APIs, and then from free APIs to actual free models that are downloadable on your systems. We can do one thing next Saturday or Sunday. Next Sunday, let's do a session next Sunday. Um, if you need a session next Sunday on a open source model, a generative AI model, we'll talk about a use case, end to end use case. We'll try to implement and we'll try to deploy the model on AWS. Okay, something like this, or maybe something like this. We'll try to implement an end to end model next Sunday. How many of you are interested in that? If you are interested, what you can do is, just after this video gets over, please come back to this video and post comments as much as possible, because comments are very needed for me. I'm not a huge YouTuber. For me, I'll also tell you the problem with me is I have 80,000 subscribers, but most of my audience is very old audience. Imagine somebody who was my audience in 2022 or 2023. They either have become data scientists or they have lost interest and they are not interested in data anymore. So in education videos, the only problem is, out of 80,000 subscribers, YouTube sends notification to a large audience. And if larger audience rejects that video and they don't watch it, they skip it, YouTube thinks this video is not important. That is why the growth is decreased, and that is why I don't get traction. As simple as that. I just explained you how YouTube algorithms work in a simple way. So, in order to get more views, to get more engagement, I need engagement on videos. So, after this session is over, go to the video again. Just write down interested in your generative AI plus AWS deployment class. If I see good amount of comments, I will definitely take a session next Sunday, and I'll announce this publicly on my channel and on in the groups as well. Okay, that's all about today's session. Thank you all for joining in. It was a really fruitful session, I believe. And next Sunday we can catch up. In case you still have any questions, feel free to ask me in the video as comments, and I will definitely respond you back. And thank you all for joining. So, winding up, thank you all. Bye bye.